Alexander Volkanovski's coach calls for a fight with Movsar Evloev next, as fans get hopeful that the now two-time featherweight champs promise to stay active and defend the belt as much as possible, is turning out to be honest. Few people, if any, might have had any doubts in regards to Volk's willingness to put his title on the line and accumulate defenses. After all, that's what he's done his whole career ever since he became champion for the first time. So we're likely going to see him a lot in the upcoming numbered cards. As far as who's next, that's a different question. Movsar Evloev may finally get his opportunity to fight for the belt now. Alex had made it clear even before his fight with Diego Lopez that he viewed Evloev as the rightful next title challenger and someone that most people would like to avoid for as long as possible, given his grappling-heavy approach. Movsar isn't the most fan-friendly fighter in the division, with both his style and personality making it difficult for him, but now that's irrelevant for Volk and his team. Eugene Behrman wants that one next.
From my point of view, and I, like I said, try to think of myself as a bit of a purist. Like, I think Mosva is the one that deserves it. But yeah, when you're a fighter, you've got to understand how the sport works, how the dynamics work. If you want to get yourself to a title fight, there's several different paths that you can take to do that. You can just keep winning and keep grinding and wrestling people down, or you can take some risks. It's real difficult, when you have that type of fighting style. You can do what Gamrot did. You can do what Gamrot did right when he had one foot in the door. You can be like, you know what? The only way I'm going to get to this title is to stand with Dan Hooker and start exchanging. And then, sometimes these things don't work out. So, from my point of view, I think Mosva should get the shot. If he doesn't, then he's going to have to, just choose which path he takes. Does he just keep winning and hope he's going to get there? Or does he try to have a spectacular fight?
Ian Garry is pissed that he didn't get a title shot after his loss to Shavkat Rakhmonov and previews his upcoming clash with Carlos Prates. Though his stock didn't massively suffer following his decision loss to Rakhmonov, Gary's career hasn't panned out in the manner he had hoped for, and now he's looking for alternative options to reach the tallest peak. Fans didn't just abandon him after the loss, as most felt that a competitive fight against one of the division's true boogeymen isn't the end of the world for a young prospect. It does seem difficult for him to maintain positive support for long periods of time, and almost inevitably large portions of fans become irritated anytime he speaks with the media in a long format. In his latest interview with Helwani, Garry expressed frustration with the fact that UFC didn't give him a title shot following his loss. He also shared thoughts on taking the Prates fight on short notice and broke down the matchup itself.
I don't believe Shavkat withdrew due to just pure choice of not wanting to fight for a title, but from what I'm hearing is more an injury. An injury that I absolutely believe he sustained in the fight with me due to the amount of heel kicks I put to his knee. And then, we're in a world title fight fighting for the #1 contender spot. So the guy who wins the fight, and rightfully so, I believe he still won the fight to this day, he gets the shot. But if he's not available, it makes logical sense to go to me, not a guy who's been out for a year and off an injury of a forearm and repetitively had to kind of go down that line of longer healing. I get a call from my agent and he's like, hey, we've just had, can you fight short notice? And I was like, what's short notice? And he was like, 25 days. I'm like, yeah, I feel it in my heart. I see it every time I close my eyes. I'm going to finish this guy. They don't call us the Fighting Irish for nothing. It's in my blood, it's in my body, it's in my soul. I want to fight, I want to put on a show, I want to have fun. And I feel like I'm at a point in my career where I just want to go out there and beat the best guys and body them and show everyone how talented I am.
Israel Adesanya goes off on disrespectful sparring partners who try to prove a point by being very aggressive and attempting to knock out or seriously damage fighters when they get an opportunity to spar with them. He was certainly speaking from experience, but the most interesting part about this is the fact that recently he trained with Sean O'Malley and the two had a sparring session. Naturally, many started connecting the dots, and according to one interpretation, this was a shot at Sean O'Malley. What exactly happened in that sparring session between the two, we don't know, and we've seen only a couple of snippets from the exchange. But the close proximity of their session and Israel's comments is the thing that drives this whole thing. Here's what he said.
I don't like to hurt people.
Yeah.
I don't like to hurt people, even though that's our job, but I like to make sure they're able to come back the next day to do their work. And also to give me work, because you need your teammates. You get some people sometimes who come into the gym, they come in with their cape behind their back. Let me try and put some work on them. Then I regulate them, and you take them out. You put them in their place. Never spar with an idiot like that.
Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo advised Michael Chandler to retire, following his loss to Paddy Pimblett. Mike's UFC career can be described in many different ways by close observers, but what certainly cannot be said about his run in the company is that it's been boring or uneventful. He had a spectacular debut against Dan Hooker, and then almost won the lightweight title in the fight with Charles Oliveira. But that was the peak of his achievement in the UFC, as with the exception of getting a win over Tony Ferguson, he lost the rest of his fights. And though most of them were competitive and highly entertaining, his record with the company is now 2-5. Losing to Paddy was more damaging to his career than any of the previous ones, not only because of the manner in which Pimblett beat him, but what it means to having extended his losing streak, especially at his age in the lightweight division. He hasn't spoken about retirement yet, but at this stage, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Kamaru and Henry think Mike may need to hang up the gloves.
I mean, Henry, what do you see? What do you see for Chandler next? What do you see him going?
I think Chandler should have just one more fight, man. Like I really do, man. I think we should retire together, bro. Maybe on the same card.
How you just go pull my man into your retirement party, bro?
That's because if I'm Michael Chandler, yeah, I'd retire, bro. That's too many beatings, dude. It's not even taking L's, but that's like elbow to the face. He's always cut. He's always bloody. He's gonna be beloved by the people, but he's lost all of his fights, man. And people just forget. People forget. I think at this point he's in my position. Whatever the UFC wants, whatever the UFC is gonna get him, they might give him a young up and coming contender. And that's when you'll know what the UFC's, the fact that they're a cash machine. They want to make that money, so they gotta push people to get in there to be able to promote. So as at this point, man, I think for Chandler, he's on the UFC's call, dude. That's all. It's like
that's a decision. That's something he needs to think about.